Finally done it. I've created a new dust cup for my Darth Vader DualShock 4. It's now in there from beer bottle caps. How hard do you think it is to replicate these in beer bottle caps without the centre breaking? Well, that one there on the left is the first one I destroyed from years ago. That one's a new one from this year's Christmas, and the one in there on the left was the one that was successful. Right, just showing you some of the things. Let's just go through it. Alright, take yourself a stock beer bottle cap, remove it from your bottle without scratching it across the front. If you've got a nice bit of rubber or something, you roll it over. Straight away you've got the inside seal. You pry that out, clean all that gunk out, clean it up. Second, come along with a nice pliers wrench or something and you manually grip all the ridges out of the edge. Flatten it, which then gives you something that looks like that. Beer bottle cap. They're about 0.3 millimeters thick. The problem with beer bottle caps is they're not as strong as the stainless steel ones I've got. So the fabrication method for clamping that centre and spinning it on an arbor to grind the back edge to the right size for the dust cup needs to be amended. That's a dapping block, 27mm ball bearing, 27mm punch or dapping doming set. That block is slightly different on the hemisphere sizes, so I need to switch between to get to this point. Otherwise, the little corrugated ridges on the edge tend to fold back inwards, and you don't want that to happen. You want to start with a large dome, dapping it, so that you can get to a point. Let me just demonstrate. I don't know, pick a hemisphere, a big one. Start dapping away with that until it domes outwards, making sure the ridges don't reappear because they will try to fold back in, until you can get it in that one, or actually I don't actually have a transition piece between these two. I don't remember, I just go through it, it's like automatic. So you keep doing it until you can get it into a smaller and smaller dap hole on this block. Let me see, what one? Yep, that is that one. Nope, that one. That's it. You do it until you can get it in that one. Don't know what hemisphere it is, but you dap it. If you try to force one into one that's too small, it will start tearing off all the pattern on the outer radial ridge. You have to get it in there, start preparing an edge until you can get it down in the hole, and then go full depth. Right, let's put that to one side. And then you get to the point where, let's take them out. They're the stainless steel triple stack. Let's put that in there so it don't roll off. And this is a Budweiser beer bottle cap. And then you get it to a point where it's full depth in that one, flat. And that is when it's at the point where you can drill the centre hole. And to do that, you have to have, I don't know, something that's grippy and compressible. That's a cork sanding block I've got. I just had to make up a blue piece of plastic. I don't know what thickness it is. It's whatever works. Rest that at the centre. And these are 4 washers. And here is a Barco 24mm pass-through socket. And I use the what we got here? E12 star drive bit. Drop that in the middle. Drop that in the middle. But turn it over. Rest that on top of the 2B dust cup. Center it like so, and then when you put maximum pressure on it, the arrangement centers the hole down the middle and rests on the 4 washers, so that you can then pick up your drill bit, conveniently stacked with bearings that will fit tightly down that hole, to center drill a 5mm hole into the dust cup. Tedious stuff. And then when it is something like it, you gotta get yourself a counter bore and just take off all the swarf, both sides, clean it up so it's nice and smooth. Otherwise it will affect the overall height, the finished height. And what you want to do is you want to get it amongst the stack of these 3 stainless steel ones I made earlier. Down into there. It'd probably be the bottom one at this point, and then you just put 2 of the others. 2 of the others. Right, let's put that one in there. That one like that. That one like that. And then you take your little pin thing, center it up down all the holes like that, through all the holes, let it rest. And you take your ball bearing, rest it in the middle, and give it a good swift whack, just to force it to the shape. Start to force it to the shape. Then you take all that out. I'm sorry if this is boring, but this is the hardships of making your own stuff from scratch with drills, hammers. Then you mount this onto a makeshift tool, and this is where it all went wrong. What we got here, this one here is the one that went wrong. You can't see the detail at the middle. It's got a ridge where my nail is dropping into. This cap folded back around the clamp arbor that I created. I'll just put it back together the way it was. Had a backing failed aluminum cup that has dented so much in the middle that it no longer serves any purpose. That's why it started to rip out the centers of my newly created. But that's just the clamp at the back. And when that's in place, when you grind it spun on an arbor, it gives you a depth stop position. You end it just before you get to that, and then you give it a measure up with your dial calipers across the centre, across the entire diameter and the standing height, to make sure that you're not going smaller than you need to be. But how did I have this set up? I had it with yep, straight up like that. Metal on metal, metal at the bottom, metal at the top. Wound up spring washer amongst the stack. The spring washer, just to give it some force. Using all of them implements, not that and that. Using all of those. And then when you put it in your drill, like so, and then grind it against the other drill, rotate both, counter rotation, so it will make maximum grinding speed on that edge. It forced this cup over, it started to form over that ridge, so that completely blew it. So to get around that catastrophe, it's too late now, I've already ruined it. But I've decided that this aluminium one needs to be a stainless steel one, because it's tougher and they don't deform as much. they're harder to form in the first place. They're still 0.3 millimeters, it's just they're a lot tougher than the steel bottle caps. I don't know, they might be like 2.5, something under 0.3 mil. Don't know, it don't really matter. Let's take that off. I had an idea, I thought, right, let's use a rubber O-ring, 4.5 per 2. I thought if I stick that on there, that might take the pressure out. But then when I wind the whole stack up, there's more movement laterally, so the end result isn't quite as good for a spinning sphere in a drill. You want it to not shake left and right when you're doing it, otherwise it's all going to come out a bit rubbish. So I want stainless steel one of them as a backing, so that it isn't dented already to the bolt head. Nice one of these that ain't been ruined. Then, from an experiment I did with plastic balls, I had, what are these called? These rubber washers, roofing washers. They've got rubber on the back, so you put the rubber towards it, so that when you're putting grinding pressure on here, it will no longer fold over the nut, but it's all pushed up to a nice square flat metal head, if that makes sense. So then, what we got? Don't want that one. Let's move that one out of the way. Let's move this camera angle so it works. Don't need that in shot. Put that one on first. Then another one of them. It don't really matter. I did try to drill these square. These were originally heads of bolts that I tried to drill direct center. Then the spring washer probably goes on there. Another one. And the long nut. Right. So as tight as you can do by hand, that's all you need. And the rubber there will be under pressure slightly, and it will grip it to stop it turning and churning the back out. And then take your drill, grip it tightly. Let's see how it spins. Let's get it. All over the place. It's hard work. It's like lathe work on stupidly thin metals that have been dapped and domed. You take it, move that out of the way, take it, spin it one direction, that's it. This spinning down and this spinning up, grind it off tediously. Get yourself a diamond file, flat across it, take all the ferrules off and all the loose bits of metal that cling to it, and keep going until you get 7mm tall, 24.2mm wide, near enough exactly. And then you have to put it in the dome, dapping block. Sometimes you have to juggle it through that pile of 3. So there's always going to be 3 in there, and then you dap it and dome it, move it up or down, and then give it another tap, and then get it to exactly 7 and 24.2 diameter, or as close as you can get within 0.1 mil. That's as hard as they are, but hopefully that one is now in there and it's done. I hate modifying things. This is why I'm not doing it commercially. I'd have to have a machine shop set up, a big giant pressing machine so you can juggle. I don't even know if you could do this as accurate quality engineering job. Well, if it was stainless steel, then yeah, you can, because the stuff's strong enough. That's why I'm not using aluminium. And even the stainless steel at 0.3mm is hard to machine by hand with grinding tools and hand tools. That's the gripe over. it's done, hopefully, and I have got to recenter the left analog stick's dead spot. It's drifting down for some reason, so when I took it all apart, I must have touched one of the, trim pots. I must have touched one of the trim pots and turned it out of alignment, so I've got to take it apart again. That's it. Thanks for watching this messed up modification video. It's hard work, it really is.